In Hridayam, for instance, Darshana has the more dramatic role. Or I think she even has the bigger role.
I think I've always said I think she is the soul of the film.
Yeah, and now in Genie, you have Vamika Gavi and Kriti Shetty as your co-stars, and of course Ravi Mohan is the hero. So you're generally, are you comfortable with sharing space in movies?
Always, so for me, it's always just been. I remember there was I'm not going to say who it was, but there was this big director that called me for a film. He hadn't watched Hridayam, and he said there are a few other actresses in this film, and you're only here for a little bit. He was imagining it as a series. So he was like, but in the second film you'll be there, but in the first, this is what it is. Will you be comfortable? I said, sir, I just want to talk to you about the biggest film that's ever happened in my life, that's given me the most for me in my career. I came in the 75th scene of that film, and I was there for maybe about half an hour in that film. And it did so much more for me than any other film I have done so far has. And so I don't believe in this whole screen space, screen time thing. For me, as long as the character works and the character connects with me, or I think will connect with the audience, I'll be more than happy to do it. So he was surprised that I said that, but that's the honest truth.
Right. But one thing I've always liked about your acting on screen is the way you do reaction shots. It's like because when you're doing dialogue, you have a crutch, you have words, and you can emote according to the words, or you can use your hands according to your words. But when somebody else is talking and you're listening or something like that, and I think I started noticing this from Hridayam, and your reaction shots are very, very good.
Thanks, sir.
Yeah, like do you, I know this is a vague question, but is there something that you do when you're listening to someone? Is that something that you just try to be in the moment?
It's more or less whether I'm locked in or not. If I'm not locked into the moment, it's very obvious.
Okay.
But that's always what Dad's told me. Again, I keep saying he doesn't advise me. There's small advices that come here and there, but it's the age-old advice for acting. Acting is about reacting.
Right.
So he's always told me that as well. So he's always said, make sure, even if you're in the background, he said, always look at what my dad's prime example or go-to example is Mohanlal sir. So he's like, always watch him be a background actor in a scene. He said, just don't watch him in his scenes where he's performing. Watch him whenever he's a background actor. You can always see something happening there. He said, make sure that's what you also focus on when you perform.
What's your favorite Mohanlal film? I know there are tons, but...
So is that even possible?
Yeah, but pick one.
I don't even know if it's possible to... I can't speak about performance because, like I said, there's such a wide range. But as a kid, the film that I loved most was Kilukkam. And I absolutely. And I think that's also...
It's such a joyous film.
Exactly.
Yeah. I haven't seen it in a while though, but I remember it being such a...
Even just the opening sequence of that film just makes me smile.
Yeah. And so when you see those films today, do you watch some...
Yeah, of course.
So when you see them from today's lens, are you still able to enjoy them, or do you find certain parts like little old-fashioned or something like that? I'm not talking about from a woke sense or a gendered sense, because the times are different.
Of course.
I'm just talking about enjoyment.
So I'll tell you what I've noticed. If it's a film I've seen before that I'm rewatching, there is the factor of nostalgia that kicks in where I'm just honestly seeing even more positives in the film, or I'm just connecting with it the same way that I used to.
Right.
But I have noticed that when I watch a film from back then that I've not seen before, I'm like, oh, this doesn't really connect with me, or this doesn't really, it doesn't work for me the way that it probably worked for other people. So it is an interesting comparison because I think nostalgia plays so much into that. Even the way that we see certain characters and certain actors and all of that, I think nostalgia plays such a big role. I had somebody come up to me the other day and they were like, oh, the actors that we had before, we don't have them today. I said, I don't think you understand, one, how much nostalgia plays a role in that. And the second thing is, I don't know if you know every actor. I don't think you know their entire filmography in order to say that they've been brilliant in every film. What my dad's always said is the actors back then were given the liberty to explore without judgment. And that's how they refined and found their limits and became actors. Actors are created. People become actors. You're not born an actor. Every actor has their limitations. But back then, they had the liberty to explore and fine tune their performances. And today, I don't think we have that liberty. Everything, like I said, is looked at through a very specific lens, and no one's given the freedom to explore.
You know, you're saying that you're not allowed to explore because there's always scrutiny on the thing. But isn't it possible at some point to say, listen, I'm going to shut this out and only concentrate on the work? Is that ever possible?
I think that is possible, but somewhere the humanness in us also comes into play here. We're all human, and I think, at least as a generation, I don't know, someone told me that the younger generation has this problem. We tend to overthink about what too many people
I think
think or say.
overthinking is a lot of a problem with many people whose job is to be in front of the camera.
Yeah.
So in whatever way.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I hear people say, oh, I shut it out and I don't let it bother me. I've never fully believed them. So I don't know what to say to that.
You don't believe that. You know, I